Alright, so apologies in advance because my cat's gonna go bananas because he doesn't like when I'm talking to people or things that aren't him. But my name is Rob, I'm 32, and I've been a vegan for about 2.5 years, coming up on 2.5. June 7th, 2006, or 2016. It's easy to remember because it's the same day that this guy, that picture actually right there was taken. Just 19 years difference. But long story short, reason I went vegan is I had a ex that she was vegan and she tried to get me to go vegan with her a few times, and I wasn't necessarily not on board with it. It just I didn't see much point, like how I was living my life, like most people. But one day, when one of my nephews was born, I was at the hospital with his dad, and he wanted me to hang out, and I did because he's my buddy, and went to the cafeteria and I got a turkey wrap and I was eating it and kind of just realized I don't want this anymore while I was eating it. So I threw it away and I ate the vegetables and hummus that I had. And yeah, haven't looked back since. Obviously, like everyone, when you first go vegan, I had slip ups where I accidentally eat something that had egg or dairy and it gets sick for a couple days off of it, and then back to eating healthy again. But at the time, I was probably 270 pounds. Frankly, I don't know my exact weight because I was always afraid to weigh myself because I always grew up the fat kid. But essentially, I started losing weight, and I knew I would because my ex that was vegan, she lost a bunch of weight when she went vegan. She lost like 60 pounds and like turned into a knockout. Honestly, I kind of missed that part, but yeah. Ended up getting down to my lowest weight was about a week ago. It was 173 and a half ish, just a hair below. I think I was like 173.4 with a 13.4% body fat, which it might not be accurate, but it's what my Omron scale says. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that company right, but that's what I use, and I'm going to keep using that going forward just for the sake of consistency. When I weighed myself this morning, because I've been creatine loading, getting to that in a, getting to that in a sec. I was 179, and I know creatine will make you retain water, so I'm kind of guessing that has a lot to do with it because I've been doing 20 grams of that a day for the past 5 days. But yeah, I was always the fat kid growing up. Never really ate healthy. I remember times when my dad would make me plates of food and it was like adult sized portions for me when I was like 7 years old. Weird when I really think about it. There was one time growing up, actually multiple times, vivid memories of my childhood where my dad he hurt his back and he turned into a stay at home dad after that. He I would go home for lunch, and I was in first grade at the time, so I was 7 years old. 7, 6, however old you'd be in first grade, 6 or 7 years old, and I would walk home for lunch, and I would have a can of spaghetti, eat the entire can of SpaghettiOs and meatballs. I'd have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a glass of milk. Which is all cool, if you're not 7. If you're an adult, that's an adult-sized portion of food. But if I didn't have the glass of milk, I would have the Kool-Aid that was cool at the time. It changed colors. It was like green or something, and it'd end up red when you'd add water to it. Or it'd be my mom's sweet tea, which basically is sugar water. If anyone that's watching this has ever met my mom, it's basically like Lipton instant tea and like 2 pounds of sugar and to a gallon of water. It's ridiculous. I can't stand drinking it now. It's way too much for anybody on the planet. But yeah, just because I didn't have the greatest eating habits growing up, typical Midwestern American diet, meat and potatoes were the staple of the what was on the plate. Big piece of meat, a little bit of starch, and then very small portion of canned, uh, vegetables, corn or beans is what it always was. It was never anything else. So that's what I grew up eating, and that was kind of the habits I took into my 20s and my adult life. Never really ate bad per se, but didn't have enough knowledge on how food worked to where I was necessarily eating correctly or healthy for what I would say is correct or healthy now. which I feel is probably a lot closer than what anyone else has to say. Shh. Cat doesn't like it. He's gonna freak out if I didn't mention it already, because he doesn't like when I give other things attention that aren't him. But yeah, back when I was in high school, I had lost a bunch of weight. I think I was like 230, and I got down to like 210 or 195. It was 195. I got down to 195, and then I went back up to 205. I don't remember. It was a long time ago now, but lost a bunch of weight. Then I started gaining weight again, but it was muscle this time because I had joined a powerlifting class. We didn't compete or anything. It was just, a class for high school, and it was just like, hey, here are the fundamentals of, lifting heavy. And the teacher was also the football coach, and he didn't really give too much of a care about anyone except the football players, and we just did the bigger, faster, stronger program, and basically he didn't have us do anything but repeat week 1 over and over again. So it was 3 sets of 3, 3 sets of 3, 3 sets of 3 of the 5 compound lifts, or not even the 5 compound lifts. We never did pull-ups. It was just deadlift, bench, and squat. We did nothing else. Every now and again he'd have us power clean, but that's about as far as it went. But I ended up putting on like 15 pounds of muscle my senior year of high school, and I pretty much retained it up until I got a retail job and started moving up in the retail world. But yeah, when I went vegan, because I was eating very calorically shallow, just by nature of what I had changed my diet to, sorry about that, because I was eating so calorically shallow, because I was pretty much just eating the vegetables that I liked. Fix that. There we go. Because I was eating calorically shallow vegetables like, corn, peas, pretty much have all the vegetables that I like. I was probably only eating like 1,500 calories a day and not working out anymore, except for doing a little bit of DTP yoga, which I 100% still to this day will recommend to people, because my knee was all banged up before that, and it still sounds like a lumberyard getting tipped over when I bend my knee, but it doesn't hurt anymore. Still have some different joint issues, but it's just because, when you're a kid, you're like, I'll heal, and you're wrong. You don't. Back on track. Lost my train of thought there for a second. Back on track, though, I ended up losing a lot of my muscle during, that time, because I just wasn't eating enough to sustain muscle. Sure, I was losing fat, but I was losing muscle too, just because, caloric deficit and not eating proper nutrients to save muscle. About a year ago, I started lifting weights again, and I was getting lean, but I wasn't really putting on muscle, and I wasn't also lifting correctly, like in retrospect, because I was literally just doing chest day. I do dumbbell flies, cool. And then, I next day I was doing bro splits basically, but I was only doing one exercise, 4 sets of 10 for whatever body part it was that day, and I was neglecting legs completely, because I had in my head I was so fat, my legs will be fine because all I have to do is just continue moving around. Yes and no. I still believe that to an extent, but I know I'm not going to get to where I want to be if I stick with that mentality. Now, a year later, trying different things, lifting weights, I didn't get anywhere. But a year later now, I actually done a lot of research, and I know what I have to eat, and in terms of how much I have to eat. And additionally, on top of that, what I have to do to actually build muscle. So I've gone ahead and put together everything myself, actually. I put together my own weightlifting program, as well as my own nutrition program and supplementation, and this is just kind of my video blog moving forward to see how it goes. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna go with my earlier stuff before I was creatine loading, because I know that makes you retain water. 173 and 13.5% body fat. I'd like to get up to keep that body fat percentage, but get up to around 195, 200. I'm going to give myself probably about 8 months to do that. I don't know if that's enough time or not, but we'll find out. Tomorrow starts the official bulking, and I've already prepped out 4 days worth of meals, and I don't know if I mentioned it on this take or not, but it's because of my work schedule. I work 4 days, have a day off, work 4 days, have 2 days off, rinse and repeat. Sorry if I'm just regurgitating information, but the first take didn't turn out because I dropped my phone and my cat's freaking out. But yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna start that, and I'll do quick little videos of what I'm eating and how I'm lifting, and I'll post my program, and things work, maybe awesome. I might be able to help someone else. I might be able to help people who, want to lose weight moving forward. I got plenty of information on that at this point. Maybe other people might be able to help me when it comes to building muscle. Somebody might be able to critique what I'm eating and what I'm doing and say, hey, dude, if you do this, you're going to get better results. Or if you stop doing this, you're going to get better results. So this is officially day 0. Tomorrow I'm probably not going to post a video tomorrow. It's probably not going to be for a week. But I'm going to do measurements and start tomorrow and see where we go from there and do weekly updates. I'll talk to you in a week.